Hey there, book lovers and curious minds. Welcome back to Shelf Stories, your go-to channel for insightful book summaries that spark ideas and challenge the way we think. Today, we're diving into The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, a book that's less about crunching numbers and more about understanding the human behaviors that drive our financial decisions. Why do some people save every penny while others spend it all? How do life experiences, culture, and history shape the way we just see money? And most importantly, how can understanding this help you make better financial decisions? In this video, I'll break down the most powerful lessons from the book, stories, ideas, and takeaways that could change how you think about wealth, happiness, and success. So grab your coffee, hit that like button, and let's get started. Have you ever looked at someone's financial choices and thought, "That's crazy"? Here's the truth, no one is crazy when it comes to money. Financial decisions are deeply personal, shaped by unique life experiences, cultural contexts, and historical moments. Take this example, someone raised in poverty views financial security differently than someone who grew up with wealth. A generation that faced high inflation may avoid bonds, while those thriving during a stock market boom might favor stocks. These experiences define our perspectives on risk and reward. Living through financial challenges leaves emotional scars that no spreadsheet can model. Those who experienced the Great Depression carry caution that later generations, lacking such trauma, might not understand. Personal history often outweighs statistical analysis. Culture also plays a role. Financial choices in one country might seem irrational elsewhere. A sweatshop worker's gratitude for steady work contrasts sharply with developed economies' expectations. Modern financial systems are new. Concepts like retirement savings, 401ks, and widespread college education are barely a few decades old. As a society, we're still learning, which leads to inconsistencies and mistakes. So the next time a financial decision seems puzzling, remember, it makes sense within that person's story. Recognizing this fosters understanding and reduces judgment. Financial decisions are not crazy, they're shaped by life. Empathy in money matters. Understanding starts here. The forces of luck and risk are deeply intertwined, shaping outcomes in ways that often defy individual effort or skill. Bill Gates, for instance, benefited from rare opportunities like access to a computer at Lakeside School, while his equally brilliant peer, Kent Evans, faced tragedy with an untimely death. These examples show how external forces can lead to drastically different outcomes, often beyond our control. We tend to skew our judgment, praising success without recognizing luck's role and blaming failures while ignoring the impact of risk. Figures like Vanderbilt and Rockefeller thrived in part due to risky law circumventions that could have easily led to failure. To learn effectively, focus on broad patterns of success and failure rather than extreme outliers. Avoid oversimplifying narratives. Success and failure are rarely just about effort or skill. Ultimately, resilience is key. By managing risks and staying financially secure, you can continue leveraging opportunities over time. Remember Scott Galloway's wisdom, nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Life's greatest financial skill lies in understanding the concept of enough. Through the stories of Rajat Gupta and Bernie Madoff, we see the consequences of an insatiable desire for more, burnout, unethical decisions, and irrevocable losses. Social comparison traps us in an endless pursuit of wealth, risking our values and relationships. The antidote is restraint, knowing when to stop, and appreciating what we already have. In this pursuit, contentment, not accumulation, ensures happiness and sustainable success. Remember, having enough is not about settling, it's about safeguarding what truly matters in life. Did you know the story of Ice Ages holds powerful lessons for your financial journey? Let's dive in to explore how small changes and the principle of compounding connect two seemingly unrelated fields, geology and finance. Ice ages are triggered by minor shifts in Earth's tilt, causing subtle changes in solar radiation. When summers become just cool enough to prevent snow from melting, a compounding effect begins. Over thousands of years, this small initial change builds into massive ice sheets. This natural phenomenon mirrors the power of compounding in finance. A small starting point, like saving modestly, can escalate into monumental outcomes when given enough time. It's the same principle that turned Warren Buffett into a legend. Buffett's secret wasn't extraordinary returns but starting early and staying consistent. Remarkably, 99.9% of his wealth came after his 50s. That's compounding at work. Time is the greatest multiplier. Even financial wizards like Jim Simons, who achieved higher returns than Buffett, couldn't match his wealth. Why? Simons started later. This shows time is more powerful than even the highest returns. The challenge? Compounding doesn't feel intuitive. Exponential growth sneaks up on us, often leading to poor decisions or missed opportunities. The lesson is simple but profound: sustained, modest returns over time outshine sporadic bursts of high returns. Consistency and patience are the real drivers of financial success. Whether it's building glaciers or building wealth, the principle is the same. Small changes, when compounded over time, create transformative outcomes. Start early, stay consistent, and let time do the rest. In the world of money, building wealth and staying wealthy are two distinct skills. While taking risks and being optimistic can help you grow wealth, preserving it demands humility and frugality. History offers valuable lessons. Jesse Livermore earned billions but lost it all due to overconfidence, while Warren Buffett thrived by focusing on survival, patience, and consistency. Financial survival boils down to three key principles: avoiding ruin, planning for uncertainties, and maintaining a balanced mindset. Compounding rewards those who can weather life's storms with steady, uninterrupted growth. The takeaway is simple: it's not just about how much you earn but how well you can sustain it. In the game of wealth, survival is the ultimate strategy. Success often comes from embracing failures and learning from them. Brad Pitt once said, "Some projects work, and some don't. Just get on to the next." This mindset resonates across life, business, and investing. Consider Heinz Berggruen. A refugee who fled Nazi Germany, he built a billion-dollar art collection. Only a small fraction of his works had immense value, yet they were enough to secure his legacy. Similarly, Walt Disney's hundreds of cartoons were overshadowed by the monumental success of Snow White, which changed everything for him. In investing, long tails drive returns. Venture capital thrives on this principle. Most startups fail, but a select few generate outsized gains. Even in public markets, 7% of companies in the Russell 3000 index accounted for all its returns since 1980. What's the lesson? Success is about persistence, experimentation, and resilience. Whether you're an investor or a business leader, focus on enduring through failures and waiting for those rare, transformative moments. Remember, outliers shape our world. What does true wealth mean to you? For many, it's about control, the ability to wake up and decide how you'll spend your day. Money alone doesn't guarantee happiness, but the freedom it can bring does. Angus Campbell, a leading psychologist, discovered that the strongest predictor of happiness isn't income or status, it's having control over your life. Imagine using money not for bigger houses or faster cars but to gain time to rest when you're ill, to explore opportunities after a layoff, or to pursue passions on your own terms. In our modern world, where work often invades every hour, reclaiming your time is priceless. As the elderly remind us, wealth is meaningless without relationships, purpose, and quality time with loved ones. So, ask yourself, is your wealth buying you freedom? Because, as they say, controlling your time is the highest dividend the money pays. When the author worked as a valet, they got to drive some of the most amazing cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Rolls-Royces. At first, the author thought owning one would mean they'd made it. That it would tell the world they were smart, rich, and important. But here's the irony: when the author saw those drivers, they didn't admire them. They admired the cars. Like most people, the author imagined themselves in the driver's seat, not who the driver was. This is the paradox of wealth. People chase luxury to signal success, hoping for respect and admiration. But others often overlook them entirely, focusing instead on how they'd feel in their place. True respect doesn't come from possessions, it comes from who you are. Humility, kindness, and empathy create lasting admiration in ways horsepower never will. So, before chasing wealth for admiration, think about what really earns respect. You might be surprised where the road leads. Money has many ironies, and here's a big one: wealth is what you don't see. While working as a valet in Los Angeles, the author saw luxury cars, Ferraris, Porsches, Rolls-Royces. You'd think their drivers were wealthy. But some, like a man the author refers to as Roger, were spending beyond their means. Roger's Porsche was repossessed because he couldn't keep up with payments. This highlights an important truth: someone driving a $100,000 car might be rich, but all you know is they now have $100,000 less, or more debt. Wealth, on the other hand, is hidden. It's the nice cars not purchased, the diamonds not bought, and the options left open for the future. We often confuse being rich with being wealthy because we only see what's outwardly visible. Social media, luxury homes, and fancy vacations create a narrative that spending equals success. But true wealth isn't about showing off, it's about flexibility, growth, and security. The challenge is that it's easy to imitate rich role models, but hard to learn from wealthy ones because their success is invisible. People like Ronald Read, who quietly amassed a fortune, were unassuming in life and admired only after their stories were told. So, before spending to show off, remember, wealth is the freedom to choose, not the need to impress. The author urges readers to consider why saving money is the key to true financial freedom. At any income level, people generally fall into three groups: those who save, those who believe they can't save, and those who think they don't need to. This message is for the last two. Building wealth isn't primarily about how much you earn, it's about how much you save. Think back to the energy crisis of the 1970s, where efficiency conserved more resources than new discoveries ever could. The same principle applies to money. While our investment returns are uncertain, your ability to save and manage expenses is entirely within your control. Wealth isn't about extravagant spending, it's the difference between what you earn and what you need. Saving isn't just tied to specific goals, it's about creating flexibility, control, and freedom, things far more valuable than any luxury item. So, before chasing higher paychecks or better investment returns, remember this: saving today is an investment in your freedom and security tomorrow. You're not a spreadsheet. You're a person, a beautifully complex, emotional person. That's something I didn't fully appreciate until I realized how crucial it is in finance. Here's the thing: don't aim to be perfectly rational when managing your money. Instead, aim to be pretty reasonable. Let me explain with a fascinating story. Julius Wagner Jauregg was a 19th-century psychiatrist treating severe neurosyphilis, a fatal condition back then. He noticed patients improved if they developed fevers from other illnesses. His bold solution? He deliberately induced fevers with malaria, which he could later counteract. Risky, yes, but it worked. He saved lives and even won a Nobel Prize for his efforts. Wagner Jauregg wasn't fixated on being perfectly rational. He balanced logic with a reasonable approach that his patience could tolerate. This idea applies to money too. Take Harry Markowitz, a Nobel Prize-winning economist. Despite creating mathematical models for portfolio optimization, he invested his own money in a simple 50-50 split between stocks and bonds, because it minimized his future regret. Reasonable decisions aren't always mathematically perfect, but they're realistic, sustainable, and tailored to your emotional needs. Managing money is about more than numbers. It's about creating a strategy you can live with, through the ups and downs, so you stay the course over time. Remember, being reasonable beats being rational when it comes to long-term financial success. Investors are often swayed by emotions and personal preferences, which are constantly evolving with culture and generational changes. This makes it difficult to predict future actions based solely on past behavior. When we reflect on our long-term goals, we often overlook how much we, and the world around us, will change. I had a friend who started from nothing and worked relentlessly to become a doctor. For years, that was his singular focus, a dream he worked tirelessly to achieve. But years into his career, despite fulfilling his childhood ambition, he was overwhelmed and disillusioned. His story highlights an important psychological concept: the end of history illusion. This is the tendency to underestimate how much we will change in the future, both in terms of our desires and what will truly make us happy. As we plan our futures, particularly in financial matters, it's vital to recognize that our goals and desires will evolve. The key to long-term success is flexibility. Moderation in planning allows us to adjust when our priorities shift, avoiding extreme choices that might lead to future regrets. The best strategy is one that allows for growth, change, and resilience, keeping the principle of compounding working in your favor. Success in any area comes with a price, and in investing, that price is often volatility and uncertainty. We've seen how companies like General Electric, once the epitome of corporate success, can falter when the unseen price of growth becomes too much to bear. Similarly, investing might seem like an easy path to riches, but the reality is different. The market offers great returns, but it demands emotional resilience, paying the price of market ups and downs, which many fail to account for. Investors often try to avoid this volatility, hoping to get something for nothing, but in doing so, they often end up worse off. Volatility isn't a fine for failure, it's a fee for accessing higher returns. Just as we pay for entertainment like Disneyland tickets, we need to view market volatility as a necessary cost to access the magic of compounding wealth. The key is to recognize this price and be willing to pay it to reap the rewards over time. Financial bubbles like the dot-com crash and the housing collapse caused unprecedented losses of $6.20 and $8 trillion, respectively, devastating households and economies. While greed is often blamed, the reality is more nuanced. Investors, driven by varying goals and time horizons, make decisions that may appear irrational in hindsight but were logical to them at the time. The core issue lies in short-term momentum driving up prices, enticing long-term investors into a market skewed by speculative trading. For instance, during the housing bubble, rapid flipping and short-term gains overshadowed fundamental valuations. The lesson? Recognize the game you're playing in finance. Ensure your decisions align with your personal goals, not the strategies of others chasing short-term profits. Only then can you avoid being caught in the cycle of irrational exuberance that defines financial bubbles. The topic seduction of pessimism delves into the paradox of pessimism's appeal and optimism's frequent undervaluation. Historian Deirdre McCloskey aptly highlights how narratives of doom captivate people. Why does pessimism resonate so strongly? It sounds intellectual, taps into our innate fear of loss, and grabs attention because setbacks occur swiftly, while progress unfolds over years. However, optimism, properly understood, isn't about ignoring risks. It's the recognition that challenges are part of a larger trajectory of growth and improvement. History reinforces this perspective. Consider Japan's extraordinary recovery after World War II or the 70% reduction in heart disease mortality due to medical advancements. These milestones didn't happen overnight but were the result of steady, cumulative progress. The takeaway? While pessimism may capture headlines, optimism fuels progress. Betting on human resilience and long-term improvement remains the wisest choice for building a brighter future. Imagine an alien hovering over Times Square on New Year's Eve in 2007 and again in 2009. To the alien, nothing seems different. Same buildings, same bustling crowd, same lights. Yet, beneath the surface, the U.S. economy was reeling from its worst downturn in 80 years. What changed? Not our resources or capabilities, but the stories we believed about stability and growth. Once the narrative of rising home prices and prudent financial systems broke, the economic dominoes began to fall. This isn't just about economies, it's about the profound role narratives play in our lives. At a personal level, we must critically assess our own financial stories, avoiding seductive but flawed appealing fictions. Because the stories we tell ourselves don't just describe our reality, they shape it. Now, let's start with a striking example, the story of Clarence Hughes, whose tragic dental procedure reminds us why consent and context are essential in decision-making. Financial advice, like medical advice, isn't one-size-fits-all. While there are universal truths in finance, like the power of time, humility in success, and the importance of saving, how you apply these depends on your unique circumstances. Key takeaways include managing your finances in ways that align with your personal comfort, embracing failure as part of the journey, and using money to secure freedom over your time. It's also vital to define what success looks like for you, recognizing that the costs of achieving it often involve uncertainty and doubt. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. By respecting the complexities of money and focusing on your game, you'll make decisions that truly work for you. This last topic underscores the importance of aligning financial decisions with personal values and goals. Sandy Gottsman's question, "What do you own, and why?" shifts the focus to the practical application of financial principles. It highlights a recurring theme. A gap often exists between what people recommend and what they do themselves. Through personal anecdotes, the author illustrates how maintaining a stable lifestyle, prioritizing independence, and leveraging a simple investment strategy can create lasting financial peace. The takeaway? Financial success isn't about following universal truths or chasing trends. It's about making choices that align with what matters most to you and your family. This is the essence of mastering the psychology of money. And that's the essence of the psychology of money. It's not just about what you know but how you behave with money that shapes your financial success. As we've seen, wealth isn't just numbers on a balance sheet, it's the freedom to live life on your terms. It's about finding balance, staying patient, and making decisions that align with your unique values and goals. Whether it's saving for independence, investing in simplicity, or understanding the role of luck and risk, this book reminds us that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to financial well-being. So, as you move forward, remember this: good financial decisions aren't always rational, they're personal. It's not about being the richest, it's about being the happiest with what you have and the choices you make. Thank you for joining this journey through the psychology of money. Here's to mastering the art of living well.